What's up guys, and welcome to Tutorial Mountain. This is where we're going to try out a brand new type of video. Now, don't let me kid you, this isn't really a unique type of video that we're going to be doing here. Plenty of people have done this before, but I wanted to try it. So, recently, I've been wanting to do a video where I kind of like build and design a house all in one video. So I don't have any plans, I'm not working off of anything, I'm just coming up with a house on the fly and I was building it along with you guys. Now, I tried to do this in a first person fashion, which is kind of like, you know, the regular tutorial video where we'd just be like building like this and I'd be telling you guys like how many blocks go where, but I didn't really like it. So what I decided to do was green this up a little bit. I've decided to install the replay mod and I think that it's turned out quite well. Now, if you guys don't like these types of videos, then you'll just have to let me know down there in the comments. But for those of you that may like this type of video, then you'll also have to let me know because maybe I'll do some bigger and better things than what we have coming up. Maybe I'll focus on a lot more bigger builds and those will be reserved for little videos like this. Don't worry, the step-by-step tutorials would never go anywhere, but sometimes I just want to build something without having to worry about the tutorial as well, so you'll just have to let me know whether you like this. And here we go. So I didn't know exactly what I wanted to make, all I knew is that I wanted to make some sort of small structure out of wood, so I threw everything in my inventory that I thought that I may need, and I began work on the frame. I typically always start with the frame, just because I find it easier to build up from there. With a solid frame, you can pretty much just fill in the blanks. So we have a weirdly shaped capital B, and I worked from there. I determined that I wanted to have a wooden cabin. After seeing the frame and extending it up a little bit, I determined that I wanted the lower part, the bigger part of the B, to be the actual main bulk of the house, and I wanted two porches. One on the right that you can see that is propped up with the wooden posts, and one on the front which is where you would actually gain access to the house. I decided to destroy the supports and replace them with upside down wooden stairs, just because I thought it'd look a bit more interesting. I then began work on the porch, and I determined that I wanted to have two different kinds of roofs. So we have a different roof for the porch, and I made it mainly out of slabs, but I thought that was a bit boring to use one colour, so I threw another one in there. I then decided to refine it a little bit, and I decided to add a little bit of a shape to the actual upper half of the house, which led into the large big main part of the roof, which you can see is a completely different shape. I then decided to kind of just determine the perimeters of the side porch, and I just threw some planks and I threw myself some slabs in there, and I think that actually turned out pretty well. We're going with the two-tone. I then decided to do the other half of the roof, and I decided to keep with the two-tonal theme. But I wasn't too happy with it, so I messed about with the top of the roof a little bit, and I figured out that I don't really want a conventional roof, so I decided to have fence connecting the front and the back part of the roof together with stairs on the front and the back. I then decided to fill in the sides of the house a little bit. I decided that I wanted to have a pretty simple pattern on the left and the back side, which are the main exposed parts of the house. I added the roof, and I added a little bit of an interesting trim to it with the oak wood fence. But I did decide to change this roof that you see here a little later on because I didn't like it. So I'm now refining the porch a little bit, I'm filling it in. I'm also going to do the same thing here right at the front in just a moment. I determined that I actually figured out that I couldn't actually walk into the house just because I was like half a block too high. I actually had to destroy a block, so it did ruin the aesthetic of the house a little bit on the front, but not majorly so. I then decided to do a little bit of work on the inside. I decided to actually add a little bit of flooring, and then I was wondering to myself, what can we add to the house? So that's the main bulk of the house done. And by the way, I do also decide to furnish a little bit, thrown a bed, thrown a crafting table, couple of chests, and then I decided to myself what I was going to add next, which I figured that a good addition to this house, this little wooden cabin in the woods, I figured that a nice little addition would absolutely be some sort of pond, and I'm just giving you a nice pan view here, just showing you what it looks like so far. You can see that the roof at the back actually protrudes a little bit, and it looks a little bit weird, which is why I'm going to change it later, but you guys will see when that happens. So that's a nice little view of what the house looks like at the moment, and then I decide that I want to add a little bit of a pond next to it, and to achieve that I decide to use some cobblestone slabs, and I decide to dig out the pond. But the only problem with that is, of course, in these survival worlds, you don't know exactly what's going to be underneath the ground that you're digging, so we had a massive cavern under there that I had to fill in, and then I could apply the water. I decided to throw a couple of grass blocks in there and throw in some bone meal, and I decided to just have some nice plants. Then I figured that a nice little addition around the house would be some trees. I liked spruce, and it just so happened that that giant spruce tree grew directly next to the house, which I'm actually quite happy with. I threw in some coarse dirt all the way in front of the build, and I decided to add some flowers and some bone meal and stuff around the cabin as well, just to make it look a little bit nicer, just to kind of make it more at home on this mountain range that we have. I then decided to refine the roof. I destroyed the top a bit, and then I added a bit more of a sensible roof on the back. It looks a little better this way. I still retained the design of the roof, except I did make it overhang a little bit, and I did add some upside down spruce wood stairs there just to make it look a little bit better. Sometimes, no matter how far you've went through the build, you don't always get it right the first time. I then added additional flowers, some varying colours, and I'm pretty sure that that's everything. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is my wooden cabin, my mountain range wooden cabin is what I'll probably call this, and that's how it ended up looking. So now that the building's out of the way, why don't we actually have an up close and personal look at this thing? So it's actually a pretty good design. It took me less than 20 minutes to put this together, and of course that's using creative mode, so I suppose that is cheating, but in survival I can't imagine that it'd take you too much longer anyway. So this is the porch. It's quite nice out here. We can see the swamp that's below us. I'm pretty sure that Shrek lives down there somewhere. So in the house, obviously we don't have too much room. This isn't really supposed to be like a final house. This is more just a nice little starter intermediate home where you just want a nice little place to crash for the night. We have a crafting table, a couple of chests, and we have a bed. We have a nice little porch here on the right hand side which overlooks the pond, which is looking quite lovely if I do say so myself. And around the little property that we have here, of course, we do have the pond, we have a bit of a path, we have loads of flowers, and we have some trees. And we do also have this, I'll say natural, I kind of built it, but naturally occurring waterfall, as natural as you can get in Minecraft, and this is how it ended up looking. I think that's actually really nice. I mean, obviously this isn't really a step-by-step tutorial on how to make this, but a lot of you guys had been asking, like, how is it exactly that you design and you make this stuff? Like, what is it that actually goes into building these things? How does it actually come to you? And I think that the best way to actually show you is exactly how I did just there. So if you do like these sort of little, not really tutorials, but kind of like build-along videos, then I'd really appreciate it if you'd let me know down there in the comments. And if you do, please give this video a like. If you do enjoy this sort of content, I might do it with bigger and better things. This was really just a test because I hadn't used the mod before, and it's actually kind of tricky to learn. But I'm glad that I've actually kind of got into it, and I'm becoming more and more proficient at it the more that I use it. And I think that it'd be even better on much larger builds. So you'll just have to let me know. Maybe I'll build some other stuff. I do have some things in mind that I think that you guys would really like to see. So just let me know down there in the comments. Follow me on Twitter at TSMC360. Check out the card system and the description below if you actually want some step-by-step guide tutorials. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye from Tutorial Mountain.